In this example, we're going to talk about contour milling. To begin, we move up to NC, select 2-axis, and move down to contour. Then we follow the instructions given in the bottom left corner of the screen. It asks us to select the beginning element. If you look up at the top of the screen, we're in the chain mode, which means we can chain a series of connected lines and arcs together to make a complete profile. I'm going to begin chaining in the bottom left-hand corner here. I'll click once, which will establish a start point. It's asking us to select the ending element, so I'm going to click again in the same place. That will define the entire contour. Notice it's also asking us to select the beginning element again. We have no other contours to chain, so I'm going to move up to the top and click on Done. Now our tool information comes up. I've got a 1/2-inch 4-flute end mill. Tool numbers are correct. I'm satisfied with the speeds and feeds, so I'm going to move to the Cut Control tab. Notice our cutting method is climb. If I click on the arrow next to the word climb, we also see on and conventional. These are other methods of cutting the same profile. I'm going to leave it at climb for the moment and move down to the amount to remove in Z. The amount to remove in Z is the total depth that we're going to cut. It's set for 1/2 inch, and I'm going to leave it there. Right below that is our rough spacing in Z. This is the peck depth that we're going to take per pass. When we have it set to 0, it means it will take the entire 1/2 inch in one pass. The only thing left to do now is click OK down at the bottom, and when I do, I'm asked to accept the tool path. I will, and you can see the cutter path is on the outside of the profile, cutting from the lower left to the upper right. If we rotate the part around, we can see this. If I go back to the top view, I want to show you something about the climb milling path. If you want to climb mill from the opposite end, you have to chain it from the opposite end, and I can show this by going to the Operations Manager, right mouse clicking on the original tool path, moving down to Regenerate Tool Path and reselect Geometry, clicking OK because all the tool parameters are the same. Now if we look at the bottom left again, it's asking us to select the beginning element. I'm going to chain from this end this time in 2 clicks. Done. And the tool path will start here and move down to the lower left, still climb milling. If I go back to the Operations Manager and I right mouse click and I say Regenerate Tool Path with Original Geometry by left mouse clicking on it, I can go to the Cut Control tab and I can change the cutting method from climb to conventional. Click OK, and the path is now conventional milling on the outside of the profile. Now, so to review once again, whether you climb or conventional mill on the inside or the outside depends upon what end of the profile you chain from. Finally, I'd like to show you a method of cutting on the line. If we move to the Operations Manager, right mouse click, regenerate the tool path with original geometry, I'm going to do 2 things here. I'm going to change the cut control method from conventional to on, and I'm going to change the amount to remove in Z to 0.25. Since we're going down a 1/2 inch total, 1/4 inch peck depth will give us 2 complete passes. Click OK, and you can see the tool path has been made invisible because it's right on the profile, and we have a red rapid move showing our movement back from one end of the profile, rapiding back to the other to prepare for the plunge down to the next depth and the final move. Another situation that occurs with contour milling is when you have a closed contour rather than an open one. In this example, we have a rectangular contour to machine. I'm going to begin by going up to NC, 2-axis, and moving down to contour. Once again, SURFCAM asks us in the bottom left corner to select the beginning element. I'm going to chain at the break in the line down here at the 6 o'clock position. Click once, click twice, and then move up and click on Done. We have the same tool information as before. I'm going to move to the Cut Control tab, check that our cutting method is set to climb, that we have an amount to remove in Z of 1/2 inch, and we've got a rough spacing of 1/4 inch. That's fine. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to call your attention to the bottom left corner of the screen. Here it says Select Side to Contour. This is extremely important. This determines what side of the closed contour we're going to cut on. If I want to cut to the outside of the profile, all I have to do is click to the outside of the profile. If I want to cut to the inside, I move the cursor to the inside of the profile and click there. In this case, I want to cut to the outside, so it doesn't matter where I click outside, just as long as I do. I'm going to click here and accept the tool path, and as you can see, we have the profile moving around the outside of the contour. If I go back to the top view and want to change that so it cuts on the inside of the profile, I can go back to the Operations Manager, right mouse click on the tool path, regenerate tool path and reselect geometry. Click OK because the tool information doesn't change. We chain the part once again, 1, 2, move up to Done. Once again it says Select Side to Contour. I click to the inside and we're done.